up, everybody? Happy Thursday, and welcome into another edition of the GC Roundup presented by Clint Hammond of the Mortgage Network, where we keep you up to speed on everything you need to know in Gamecock Nation. I'm your host, Kendall Smith, and this week on the show, surprise, surprise, shocker of the century, we are talking about South Carolina football and their upcoming matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers. Plus, if you are pumped for South Carolina basketball season, we'll get excited because Madness on Main is back. Stay tuned to find out when you can head out to Main Street here in Columbia, South Carolina to celebrate the start of the South Carolina men's and women's basketball season. And if you are not going to Knoxville this weekend to watch South Carolina football take on Tennessee, well, you can still watch another South Carolina team take on Tennessee right here in Columbia, South Carolina. Stick with us for details on that. It's all coming up next on this week's edition of the GC Roundup. So obviously, a broadcast always begins with the top headlines of the week. And the biggest headline of the week for Gamecock Central is the fact that on Tuesday, GC announced an absolute home run hire. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you might not know this, but I'm sure most of you already do know this. Mike Yuba is joining the crew here at Gamecock Central, and we could not be more excited. So if you haven't already, give him your biggest, warmest welcome down in the comments below. I'm personally hoping this means free Bojangles for everybody. I actually have not tried the Yuba yet, which I know. Go ahead and put in the booing noise. Like, that is absolutely unacceptable living in Columbia, South Carolina. But I feel like no time is better than now to try the Yuba. So again, Mike Yuba here on staff at Gamecock Central. We are absolutely pumped. But without further ado, let's get into the sporting news of the week here on this week's edition of the GC Roundup. South Carolina will head to good old Rocky Top, Tennessee this Saturday for the Gamecocks Week 6 matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers. And Shane Beamer previewed the upcoming game during his Tuesday press conference. Check out what he had to say about a place that means a lot to him.
Going to Knoxville this weekend, going back to a place where I have great memories of, a proud graduate of their sport management program, and got a big challenge on our hands. Obviously a first-year staff like we are, but you see them continue to get better each and every week on all three phases. Offensively, we got to do a great job of handling their tempo.
This week's edition of Unfiltered on the GC Roundup features Luke Doty. He spoke earlier in the week very candidly about his relationship with Zeb Noland. Check it out.
As far as Zeb goes, he's one of my best friends. I probably hang out with him more than anyone else. Just spending time in the film room with him. We went and got dinner last night at Groucho's. Just doing little things like that because, he's another guy that, you can kind of talk about anything with, whether it be football or life.
No, I don't just have good news for you, Gamecocks. I have great news for you, Gamecocks, on this week's edition of Good News Gamecocks. If you are excited about the South Carolina men's and women's basketball seasons this year, well, get hyped because a date has been set for Madness on Main. Come out to Main Street in Columbia, South Carolina on Friday, October 15th at 6:30 p.m. to celebrate the start of the men's and women's basketball seasons here at South Carolina. Dawn Staley spoke with the media just a few days ago about the progress of her team. Check out what she had to say.
They're competing. I don't know. I think we're a little bit ahead of where we've been in years past, and that's kind of a compliment because we've had some players that really understood our system, but just from a pace, from a defensive standpoint, and just from being super competitive, like every single drill, every single time that they are faced with some competition, they pretty much rise to the challenge. They're not perfect, but it's not coming from any other place besides, it's a want.
If you need your fix of fall baseball, well, you can head out to Founders Park this morning, yes, today at 10:15 in the morning to watch South Carolina baseball scrimmage. I know I'm not giving you a lot of notice, but if you want to watch some baseball, 10:15 today, Founders Park, be sure to head out there. The South Carolina women's soccer team has been on an absolute roll recently, winning their last 4 games, including their last matchup against the number 13 ranked Auburn Tigers with a final score of 3-2. Tonight, the women's soccer team is back in action against Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi at 7 p.m. And I have to say, selfishly, I'm very excited about this matchup. My brother is a first-year law student at Ole Miss, and this is the first time since we've been at our respective schools that Ole Miss and South Carolina are playing each other. So go Cox, and I'm sorry, Drake, but we're just going to have to take you down tonight. Like I said in the teaser, if you don't have the opportunity to travel to Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend to watch South Carolina take on the Volunteers in football, you can watch South Carolina take on the Volunteers in volleyball right here in Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks will face Tennessee at 7 p.m. on Friday and 5 p.m. on Saturday at the Carolina Volleyball Center. The world of recruiting is staying busy for South Carolina football, and if you want to stay updated on what is going on with South Carolina football recruits, be sure to check out what Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark, our recruiting insiders at Gamecock Central, have to say. You can check out all of their content and more on GamecockCentral.com. Don't forget, another edition of Before the Sandstorm is coming out this Saturday morning. It is the premier pregame show for all things South Carolina football. And also be sure to check out Mike Yuva's latest content on the website, his first week here. So again, we're super excited to have him. But as for this week's edition of the GC Roundup, that's going to do it. Be sure you subscribe to GamecockCentral.com, and I will see you guys in the next episode.